sometimes it's in the most mundane of things that we do that we find the greatest teachings come to us. I don't know if you've ever read any of Thich Nhat Hanh's Mindfulness, that they would teach the Buddhists who were in the kitchen, to be able to take a plate and to just, in the washing of the plate and in the drying of the plate and the putting it down, working in the kitchen, that if you're in a state of mindfulness, that you can find your connection to God, you can find enlightenment, you can find complete peace, just total serenity in just this simple act of washing a dish and so on. So that it's the line from the Way of the Peaceful Warrior. I don't know if you've read Dan Millman's wonderful book. And there's a teacher in there, and I'll just very briefly sketch it. There's a man who's a teacher's name, and he's called Socrates. And Socrates is teaching Dan, who is actually was a gymnast, like an Olympic level gymnast, and was trying to teach him. He said, you have to go out and sit on a rock and don't come back and come off of that rock, no matter how long you stay there, until you have, until you can say something that's really significant, really relevant. It has to be really important. And he would go away and he'd come back and he'd say something. He'd say, no, that's not it. And he'd come back and he'd sit there for hours and hours, and he'd come back and he would say something to Socrates. Socrates says, no, that's not relevant. So no consequence what you're saying whatsoever. And then after like 24 hours of doing this, finally, what came to him, and he came to Socrates, and he said to him, I think I've found something that is truly significant. I've really reached truth. And he said, what is it? And he said, there are no ordinary moments. Mm. There are no ordinary moments. Like this whole concept of ordinary is like, and to recognize that extraordinariness is in every single thing that you do. That's my first thought about it. That self-actualizing people, according to Maslow, said that they see, he sees the unfolding of God in everything and everyone that they encounter, whatever it may be. Walking in an airport and the person, standing in line ahead of you. That can be like one of the truly insightful moments in your life. In the book that I just finished writing, that I spent like 3 months writing every single day, I can see clearly now. I realized that some of the most significant turning points in my life occurred in what I would have called ordinary moments, before. And now I realize that there's absolutely no ordinary moments, that God is in everything. There's no place that God is not. And it's being able to be in that place. And then you get guided. And I simply was guided that if you really want to heal yourself, here's a little piece of advice for you. I studied the life of St. Francis. You heard me talking earlier in the show about St. Francis.
Oh, yeah.
St. Francis, when you read the stories of St. Francis and who he was, and you read the stories of Jesus, and you read the stories of Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa said that every day I see Jesus Christ in all of his distressing disguises. And I would think about that when you think about, the things, like even doing this radio show for me. I've been doing this show now for 7 or 8 years, every Monday. And, you would think, well, this is just another one of those, quote, mundane chores that I have to do. I have to set aside this hour every Monday, and I have to go in and I have to sit in a room and I have to clear the house so that none of my kids are around and there's no noise. I have to make sure that, and there's so many other things that would be easier for me to do, just to be outside. My family's here now and so on. But it's probably the most inspiring hour I have every single week, just talking to people like yourself and, from all over the world. And sometimes I put the phone down at the end of the hour and I have tears going down my throat. And I thought, this is just like, it's just a little radio show. You're just doing call-in radio show. That means you've been doing this forever, this kind of thing. And yet, some of the greatest insights that I've had and feelings of, it's like, because like self-actualization really boils down to, surrender. Mm. Truly, it's surrender, which means just like letting, what they say in the recovery movement, it's like just letting go and letting God direct your life. And it's about service. And it's about the other thing that Dan Millman wrote about in The Way of the Peaceful Warrior. It's about recognizing that there are no ordinary moments. There is no such thing. It's like when my kids say I'm bored and all of this, it's not possible. There's no such thing as boredom for a self-actualized person, There's no such thing as mundane. There's no these things that you are doing begin to be so conscious of what it is that you're doing each and every day, whatever it is. If you're sitting at your desk and just writing, instead of just making that a routine, finding the spirit and finding a way to just surrender and to finding a way to be of service, Karen. It's about being of service, and it's available to you at all times. Within one block of where everybody who's listening to me right now, wherever you are in the world, within a block or two of where you are living, there's somebody who could use your help. There's somebody there who you could go read to, or that you could take a gift to, or you could just smile towards, or you could help clean up their house, or